Hello, and welcome back to Thought Leaders Lounge, an ongoing conversation with Family Compass. I'm your host, Chad Black, and today I am so happy to welcome Family Compass Vice Board Chair, Judy Bennett Garner. Hello, Judy Garner.
Hi, Chad.
How are you?
I'm doing well. It's so good to see you.
You as well. Thank you for being here today. I'm so excited.
Absolutely.
So excited. So as we dive into this, we always like to get to know our guests a little bit more.
Yeah.
So can you tell us a little bit more about yourself? Who is Judy Garner?
Oh, that's a loaded question there.
Where do I start?
Yes. No, but I guess, I'm a Baltimore native and a Baltimore Ravens fan. Okay. So I do like to start with that.
Go Ravens.
But professionally, I am an attorney. Most of my professional career in the law has been around employment issues. And so that's what I'm currently working for a consulting firm in the area, doing that work. But probably a little known fact is that prior to going to law school, I was a singer. And so I have an arts background. I was actually an opera singer before going to law school. So I have that background, did some arts administration work, and then, decided to give all of that up for the law.
Seriously, how do you go from opera singer to attorney? That's incredible.
Yeah, though. I was doing arts administration work and thought, hey, I want to go back to graduate school or something like that. And my dad said, go to law school. And, if you can do whatever you want with that degree, if you want to go and do more arts administration, you can. And so I took his advice and I did, and it's worked out pretty well. So now definitely not a performer. And I don't miss performing at all, but now consider myself a patron of the arts.
So I can't ask you to sing for us. Right?
No,
probably not.
I'm
today.
Retired.
Okay, gotcha. I wouldn't do that to you anyway. That's so rude. I hate when people put you on the spot like that. So let me ask you this. I'm always interested in how kind of people's journey into this sort of world that we live in as far as like volunteering. Mm-hmm. How did you sort of venture into that? Was that something you grew up with or something that you kind of worked your way into as you got older?
That's a good question. I would say that I grew up with it, but I didn't know it. So many years grew up very closely connected to a church, my church. And so served there, volunteered there. And that was probably growing up. That's where I spent a lot of my volunteer hours. But you don't realize that that's what you're doing when you're in it. You're like, oh, is this a volunteer situation? But I did. And so that was really, I would say, my first introduction into volunteering and also becoming involved in social causes. Mm-hmm. We had an NAACP chapter as part of our church. And then many other just initiatives there. And so growing up, I saw my mom, myself, my friends, and my community, we all volunteered through our church. And so I would say that provided the foundation for me. And then kind of as I moved into adulthood, just had to find my way in terms of where I wanted to plug in and volunteer, and have found a wonderful organization that I love to support, which is Family Compass.
Yay! We didn't pay her to say that, by the way, so. But how did you? Because I think you and I kind of started at the same time.
We did.
How did you find Family Compass?
So through my prior employer I worked at a law firm, Jackson Walker, wonderful firm. And at the time, a partner or attorney that I worked with, I think someone had reached out to her about potentially joining the Family Compass board. And I believe at that time she had also done some pro bono legal work for Family Compass. And so she was mentoring me at the time and has now become a member of our board, Sarah Montgomery. And so she was the one who shared the opportunity with me and said, hey, I think this is something that you might be interested in. Let me know. And that was really the start of my work with Family Compass.
That's amazing. Thank you, Sarah.
Yes. Thank you, Sarah.
I appreciate that. So, there's so many different places that you could serve and volunteer and do so much. Why? What keeps you here with Family Compass?
I would say the mission and then also the wonderful staff, to be honest with you, because that's two things. The mission is, I can't I can't really put into words at least how I feel, how important the work of Family Compass is, the work that is being done with families, mentoring, the clinical work, the outreach, all of that, really to be proactive about creating healthy families. And I think that for me, that's really, really important. So that mission is important to me, so that I do align with the organization. And then the staff of Family Compass is so wonderful that they make being a board member easy. And so how could you not want to serve, when the mission is so important and important to me, but then you also get to work with a wonderful group of people, including all of our board members as well.
Right. Absolutely.
Yeah.
We have a really, really strong board.
Yes, absolutely.
So that's fantastic. Well, I've had the pleasure of working with you on a lot of different things.
That's
I was thinking about when we first met. I think the first time I met you was at a client holiday event.
I think so.
And you were over at this little work table doing like all these crafts with the kiddos and stuff. And that's the first time I met you. But we've worked on a lot of things over the years. One of the major things was back in 2021, you co-chaired our third annual North Star Luncheon, which actually was virtual.
Yep.
That was something.
It was.
But no, you and Shay, I think, did a fantastic job. In fact, I remember saying when we were filming, you both need a morning show.
We did. I was, it's funny. I have some pictures in my phone from that filming, and it was such a great experience. And talk about a pivot. And just really kudos to you and the entire Family Compass team for pivoting, because that was in the middle of the pandemic.
Right.
We had to shift to doing luncheon virtually. And really your team came up with some great ideas about how to make it a special event, how to share the message about what Family Compass is doing. And part of that was a wonderful filming session with my co-chair, Shay Fleming, who is also now a board member.
She is, that's right.
But looking back, we were like, definitely, we could take this show on the road, Shay.
Seriously, that's how good it was. I've watched it a couple of times since then, and I'm like, they nailed it.
Yeah.
They really, really nailed it. So in addition to co-chairing, again, you're involved in a lot of things. What other things with Family Compass do you enjoy doing? What do you take part in?
Well, so I think we met at the client holiday party. So that's also one of my favorite events. And so I think that was the first client event I attended. It was probably 2018 or 19, if I recall. And I think since then we've pivoted again, because of the pandemic, to have it be more of a drive-through situation. But when we were doing it as a big party in person, it was fantastic because I was able to meet all of the clients, many of the kids, and I was manning the craft table.
You were.
And
you did an amazing job, by the way.
I didn't know how serious some of our client children take their crafts and their artwork. And so it was an education for me, but it was just such a wonderful opportunity just to connect with them, to see them have a good time. Right. Also, I believe it was North Dallas Bank and Trust was a partner. They provided, I think, the gifts and also food.
They
and also provided volunteers from the bank. Right. And so it was just really fantastic. And then, of course, we had Santa come out and give gifts. So it's just was such a joyful, joy-filled event, I would say. And then during the pandemic, we did pivot and have made it more of a drive-through, but still a great opportunity to connect with the clients of Family Compass, because for me, that's important because a lot of the work that we do, that I do on the board, is not client facing. So we don't really get to meet clients, see them. But when you do, you get to see, this is why we're doing, having these meetings and having these luncheons and all this. Yes, exactly. So that's the annual client holiday party is definitely one of my favorite events. And then, of course, luncheon. The luncheon is one of my favorite events as well, because one thing I love about luncheon is I'm able to share Family Compass with others, who are potential donors, who are potential supporters. And so it's just, I always, again, Chad, you and Ona do such a great job of presenting the luncheon that it makes it really easy to bring someone who doesn't know anything about Family Compass, say, hey, come get a meal. I want to introduce you to a wonderful organization that's doing great work in this area.
Yeah. Well, we certainly appreciate that. And you really do. I mean, you show up every year for us, and we really, really appreciate that. But, that's what we always say. We need your help getting people in the room.
That's right.
You get them in the room, and we're going to tell that story.
You're going to close it out.
That's what we're going to try to do. Gosh darn it. So, yeah, absolutely. Thank you to Evolve Support for sponsoring this episode of Thought Leaders Lounge. Evolve Support is an industry-leading information technology services company based in North Texas. Whether you've just started your own business or have been in the market for years, taking care of your IT needs can be complicated and exhausting. Evolve Support believes that your IT requirements should be supported by experienced professionals. With many decades of combined experience, their team has practical knowledge and expertise to deliver all of your technology needs. With a comprehensive range of seamlessly integrated, effective, and sustainable services, Evolve Support can guarantee your technology needs are not just met, but exceeded. Visit evolvesupport.com to discover your custom solution. So one exciting thing this year, in fact, in a couple of months, you're actually stepping into our board chair.
That's true.
Role, which is very, very exciting.
Yes.
How you feeling about that?
I'm excited. We've since I've been on the board, we've had some wonderful board chairs, and so because of that, I know that I have big shoes to fill in that way. But I'm really excited about partnering with the agency even closer. Right. To I think it's for about 2 years, just really to continue to grow the board, continue to grow the mission and the opportunities for the agency. So I'm excited about it.
Absolutely. So what do you think? This is an Oprah question.
Oh gosh.
What do you think makes a good board member? What
That's
do you think
a
it
good
takes?
question. I think that you have to have a commitment or alignment with the mission of the organization, because I do think that should drive everything you do. Right. So when, on the board, if you're trying to make decisions, work through things, if you have a connection to what the work is, it makes it easier and actually helps you make those decisions. So I do think that alignment with the mission is always important. And then I also think that the willingness to support the organization is also very important. And so that sometimes that, and I always think about it in time, talent, and treasure. And so it's not just about writing a check, which checks are very important in the organization, but it's also about opening up your Rolodex and saying, who can I connect you with, to help with this situation, or who can I invite and share with them the mission of this organization. So I do think just a commitment to give back and to work with the organization is really, really important as well for any good board member.
That's wonderful. So, I've kind of, again, we've started pretty much at the same time, and I've kind of watched you, grow and
I've watched
evolve.
you.
And,
yes.
Yeah, I mean, we've kind of done it together,
yes, that's
quite
right.
frankly. But I've really kind of watched you step into leadership positions here. And is that something that you had planned, or is that something that just sort of
No, it wasn't something I planned.
Yeah.
It's definitely something that just happened, but something that I welcome. And I think, serving on any board is just important to be open to how you can help, how you can help in the most effective way. And so it's always been my pleasure to do whatever I can to help the agency. And so if that is serving in some type of leadership role, I'm always willing to do that. Or if it means, sweeping up the floor after the holiday party, I'm also willing to do that too.
And you have.
Yes.
You've kind of done it all. So we appreciate that very much. So, we've been talking a lot this year as we've entered into 2023 about really stepping into what we're calling Family Compass 2.0. As our incoming board chair, what is your vision for the future of Family Compass?
That's a good question, Chad. My vision is that that we would be able to share the message and the work of Family Compass broadly.
Sure.
And so I think, when I first learned about Family Compass, I was like, oh my gosh, why don't I know about this organization? The work that they're doing, like, I should know about this. Right. I mean, even if I'm not intimately involved with it. There are other organizations that I, knew about in passing, but I'm like, why don't I know about this organization? Right. So for me, I think just making sure that people know what Family Compass is doing, the important work that they're doing, even outside of Texas. Like, I mean, I'm thinking on a national level, what the agency is doing is so important that people across the world need to know it. And so for me, that's the vision, is really aligning with Ona, yourself, just to figure out how to continue to expand the outreach for the agency. For
sure. Well, prevention is the key.
That's right. Absolutely.
That's sort of what keeps us coming to work every single day. So,
yeah.
That's wonderful. Well, Judy, I mean, honestly and truly, you have been such an amazing champion for our mission, such a wonderful supporter, a friend. Just so wonderful to work with. And it's such a pleasure to know you and to get to work alongside you. And I really, really thank you for being here today.
Absolutely. And the same goes for you, Chad.
Thank you.
Yes.
I appreciate it. So thank you.
Thank you.
And as always, we want to leave you with an inspirational quote to take with you into the world. And today's quote it's a paraphrase quote by Marian Wright Edelman. And I so believe this. I love this so much. People cannot become what they cannot see. So there you go.
Wonderful. I love that quote.
I do too. It's definitely the truth. So thanks again for joining us for this episode of Thought Leaders Lounge. Stay tuned for the next episode coming out in a couple of weeks, where we'll be discussing volunteering and how you can get involved in the community. And be sure to subscribe to Thought Leaders Lounge on Spotify, Apple Music, YouTube, or wherever you get your podcasts. You can find the latest agency updates on social media. We're on Facebook, LinkedIn, and Instagram, all at Family Compass. See you next time.